Madam President, just 2 days ago, here in this very chamber, we heard from many delegations, including the closest allies of the US. They called for a de-escalation and for the settlement of differences around the negotiating table. Yet our US colleagues yet again ignored this position, the position of the entire international community, following Israel's lead. Instead of checking Israel, instead of forcing it to halt the spiral of escalation, today we once again will be hearing from the U.S. representative. We'll be hearing cynical statements about readiness to return to the negotiations table, as if there were no strikes using heavy payload bombs on Iran. Clearly, this is being done to hypercritically subsequently portray Tehran as the party that spoiled the negotiations process, the party that's supposedly undermining stability in the Middle East. Yet we believe that none of our sensible colleagues in the international community will believe our U.S. colleagues anymore, much like they won't believe their attempts to convince the Security Council that Iran was trying to acquire nuclear weapons. Let me remind you that back in March, high-ranking U.S. intelligence officials said that the U.S. does not have information about Tehran's attempts to develop military nuclear capabilities. I imagine that many are getting a nagging sense of déjà vu today. Let me remind you that back in 2003, in this very chamber, the U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell waved around a test tube, justifying Washington's plans to invade the territory of another sovereign state, only to having waged decades of chaos onto its people to not find any WMDs there. Today's situation is no different in substance to the one we saw in 2003. Again, we're being asked to believe the U.S.'s fairy tales to once again inflict suffering on millions of people living in the Middle East. This cements our conviction that history has taught our U.S. colleagues nothing. We regret that today some of you in this room didn't and cannot muster up the courage to call a spade and to condemn Washington's actions. And it's very strange to be participating in this theater of the absurd, this cynical theater. We had the representative of the UK calling on Iran to exercise restraint, a country which was subjected to an unprovoked attack, which was bombed, it had its nuclear sites bombed, as if it were Iran, not Israel, and the US that was escalating the situation as much as possible. They're calling on Iran to exercise restraint. This is something other council members are doing. We've seen a lot of hypocrisy in this room, but this takes the biscuit. This is a surprising example of hypocrisy on the part of those who, over the last few days, has been whipping up tensions regarding Resolution 2231, which will soon expire. Madam President, throughout the last week, we witnessed a new, highly dangerous wave of escalation. Last night, the situation became wholly unprecedented in nature. The radiological repercussions of the U.S. attacks remain to be assessed, and we're counting on the IAEA and its Director General to issue a clear-cut, professional and impartial analysis of the situation, including by presenting an objective report at the emergency session of the Board of Governors of the IAEA. Yet it's already clear that strikes on Iran's nuclear sites, including those conducted by one of the NPT's depositories, the U.S., that these attacks amount to a colossal attack on the global NPT regime, non-proliferation regime. They not only deal a blow to the authority of the IAEA,